Hello and welcome to EST TV. It is Wednesday, the 1st of April 2020, and today we are talking about everything to do with search engine optimization, the performance of your website, user experience, user interfaces, and everything else that falls in between. And our guest today is Phil Gregory from Peak District SEO. And with everybody being online at this moment in time and everybody using the internet, is your website performing as well as it should be? Well, let's have a chat with Phil and see what his opinion is and how he can help you improve the performance of your business online. Good afternoon, Phil. How are you today?
Hi, Mike. I'm well, thank you. Thanks for having me on.
Excellent. And how's it all going in terms of SEO at the moment and Peak District SEO?
Well, it's certainly interesting time, shall we say that. There's quite a lot of interest, surprisingly. I did think it would be an absolute nightmare. But I have to say, that some companies are showing signs of nerves. So, what I'm really looking to do at the moment is to reach out to people and tell them why it's important to maintain their marketing spend.
So let's cut to the chase then, and let's take that as a subject to lead with. What's your opinion, and why do you think that marketing is so important to maintain during this coronavirus outbreak?
Well, for a start off, if you took even the most simple aspect of it, you would have to say people's audiences are captive. Right now, the majority of people are at home and using the internet more than they've ever used the internet. Absolutely. Because they've got a little bit more time on their hands, So if you ever have a message that you want to put out to them, now would be a good time.
So in terms of SEO, where do we start?
Well, I think first of all, it's knowing that you need to improve your website. If you have a business website and for some time now you've not really been happy with the performance of it, then you're probably looking at a marketing package of some form. Now, you'll know about things like, you'll have heard terms like SEO, you'll have heard terms like PPC, which is pay per click, and you'll know about social media campaigns. But as a business owner, choosing which one is right for your business is probably the hardest thing that you're going to do. Now, as an SEO, and you would expect me to say that SEO is the most important part of the marketing campaign. I'll tell you why I think that. Simply because SEO is the bedrock of your website. Now, you can pay money to drive traffic to your website, and that is going to give you an immediate uplift. But it is always reliant on constant cash flow. So you always got to spend to keep and maintain that traffic. What you've got to do is, if you can find an SEO company that you can work with, what you're going to do is fix all the errors on your website. And you'll think, well, what errors? Yeah. I can guarantee you that most websites have absolutely hundreds of errors that are holding back their performance online. So once you've engaged the SEO company and you've said, look, this is what my problem is, I'm not getting enough leads, I'm not getting enough traffic, then it's probably best to get an audit from them.
What does Peak District SEO offer in terms of an audit?
Okay, so what we like to do is, after an initial consultation with the client, we run our software over your website, over the client's website, the lead's website, if you like, and that will produce an automated report, which we'll send to them as a PDF. Now, I don't send it as an automated report. I also add in my recommendations by hand. You will also get a video review, which is basically me using the website as though I am a customer/client. And I will pick out lots of good things that you're doing correctly and lots of things where you could improve the look of the website, what we call the UX, the user design. And I talk about things like how you can improve your lead generation rate, improving your calls to action, improving your headers and your key statements, the wording on your site, the use of images and video, all kinds of stuff like that, as well as we give you a mobile speed score and tell you how your website performs on mobile devices such as phones and tablets. And then we submit that to the client.
In terms of mobile, Google are leading with a mobile first priority really now, aren't they?
That's right. So I think, dates are always hard to come by, but I think it was somewhere in the back end of 2018, Google switched over from what we call the desktop index, which is how Google sees websites on laptops and PCs, to what we call the mobile index, which is how Google reads websites on a phone or a tablet. And now almost all, not quite all of the websites, but almost all the websites in the world are indexed with mobile first indexing. That means if your site doesn't work well on a mobile or a tablet, then you have a greatly reduced visibility online.
So how would somebody know if their website is not working well on mobile? What are the things to look out for?
Well, I mean, there are quick tests that you can do yourself. So you can go along to Google's mobile tester. If you just type into Google, mobile friendly test, then you can paste your own company URL into that box, and it will run a quick scan on the site and give you a quick overview report.
Okay.
The bad news about that is, for the majority of company owners, you're going to get that report and go, what am I doing with this? Because it's too difficult for me to understand.
Yeah. And obviously there's very simple things as well, like pinch and zoom. So if you have to pinch and zoom into your website, then you know that your website's not responsive for mobile states, and you need to get that fixed, don't you?
Yeah, that's right. At the end of the day, we've seen a massive switch over in terms of traffic. Now, I think in about 2015, we started to see an uptick in mobile traffic. And it was going from almost nothing to, 25% of all traffic we used was coming to websites on a mobile phone. And now it's probably 75-25 in the other way, in the other direction.
Yeah.
People are still converting highly on desktops, but they are still making that first initial contact on a mobile or on a tablet.
Okay, so once we've done a website audit, or once you've done a website audit, where does it go from there?
So then I will follow up with the lead and see what they thought of the audit, whether it was a surprise. I'll discuss with them.
Normally is.
It's a surprise, I can tell you that now. I usually discuss with them then, what their budget is and what their expectations are, because timescales are really important. Sometimes companies want a really quick uplift, and if it's super quick that they're after, I will usually say, okay, there's two options here. One is, if it's super quick, you're gonna need to put some AdWords on it as well, because you want to drive that extra traffic. However, I would also say that realistically, it's about your best option is spreading it out over a few months so that you can make the most of the budget that you've allocated. Right. Because over a few months, you're going to see some significant uplift. It's not going to be overnight success, but you are going to see that the work that we're deploying onto the site is actually giving you some benefit, and that will grow your own confidence and then allow you to invest more later on.
Also, Peak District SEO, you provide guidance on the actual site content itself, don't you?
Yes, we do, yeah. So as part of the audit, some of the scores that are returned by our software will flag up issues such as pages with not enough content, pages that don't have the right length of title, or don't have a what we call a meta description. And the description is what you see in the search engine results page. So if I were to Google, for example, creative design companies in Sheffield, the list of results that come up, what we call the SERP, the search engine results page, will show you the blue link, which is the title of the page, and then a small chunk of text which describes what that website is about, and that's your meta description. Now, huge amounts of sites just neglect their titles and descriptions, which, whilst they're not what we call a ranking factor, they do greatly influence how users interact with that result on the search results page, whether they click that result or whether they choose a different one. So having good titles and meta descriptions is really important as well.
Yeah, and from a web design perspective, it is always style over substance with a lot of websites. And obviously we know that form should always follow function. And so the main function of a website is to promote your business, service, products, whatever it is it's there for.
Yeah, I think it's a very common problem that I see, and what I do also try to do, which hopefully is good news for most website owners, is I do try to sit down with the designers if I find any sort of discrepancies in terms of things that have been missed. I always try and help as a middleman to like get those issues resolved so that it doesn't cause too much conflict between the designer and the client, because sometimes the client's expectation of what the designer does isn't actually in line with what the designer is billed for. The designer is billed for a design, not SEO.
Exactly. And you've got to get that balance right, haven't you?
So what it is very often when people have a concept of what they want for a website, they'll approach a web designer, and sometimes they can be quite forceful with the designers and say, I definitely want this. And that is their creative idea, but that doesn't always translate into what will work best in terms of what their customers want.
Absolutely, and I think clients have got to understand that, you know, they're employing the likes of you and I to create a website that is going to function and provide them with the information that they need and provide them with the service that we're supposed to offer. And the client is not the web designer nor the SEO expert, and that sometimes leads to some very interesting conversations.
Yeah, I think that's bang on, Mike. I mean, really, you know, one of the things that I'll address with a client once they've decided that they do want to book SEO services is, you know, I'll ask them a question like, do your pages, whether they be informational pages, static ones that never change, or blog articles, do they actually address the questions and needs of the client, of their clients, their customer base? Because sometimes we all get blinkered as business owners and say, I know exactly what the customer wants. Well, actually, unless you're using data to track exactly what the customer wants, it's very easy to get off track and deliver what you want to deliver, which isn't always what the customer wants. And that's where you see the drop off in conversions.
If you manage to grow that visibility and bring the customer's website up into the fore, how do you turn the customers into real customers?
Okay, well, realistically, it's about paying attention to what customers do. So when you have a website, it's essential that you add what we call tracking code. Now, the most popular tracking code that most businesses will be familiar with is Google tracking code, and they create several bits of tracking, but the most popular is called Google Analytics. Now, you can also use things like Tag Manager and Search Console. Facebook and some of the other social media platforms also have tracking code that you can insert into your website. But Google Analytics will do the heavy lifting, the majority of it anyway. Once that tracking code is inserted into the code of your website, it will give you insights about, number one, what traffic are you getting? Number two, what pages are they visiting? And if it's connected up to Google Search Console, which is another product they offer, it will also tell you the queries that people found your website with. So you'll be able to say, actually, I sell blue balloons. No, I sell balloons, but I imagined that blue balloons would be the most popular, but it might actually be the case that red or purple are what your customers are searching for. And then that's good insight, isn't it? Because you can say, okay, the majority of people are coming to my site, they're not seeing the product that they are looking for, and they're leaving. Whereas I can easily get hold of that product and build a product page and serve the customers with exactly what they're seeking. The tracking code will give you that insight, but then it's what you do with it as well. So on your pages, people have a short span of attention. You've probably heard that if people load a website and it doesn't load quickly, they'll leave. Well, the same thing can happen if they come to your website and they don't see your offer quickly. Right. So it's really important to say who you are, what you do, and what the benefit is of what you do really quickly, so that your customer can feel confident they're on the right page.
We're going through this massive change, this evolution in our businesses, Phil, with the onset of COVID-19 and the coronavirus. With that in mind, why is it so important to address these issues on your website at this moment in time?
Well, as I sort of said at the start, many businesses at the moment, because of obvious reasons such as cash flow, etc., will choose to contract. However, if you are in a situation where you don't need to contract, everyone else is pulling their horns in, and that leaves a massive space for you to move into. You have an opportunity, if you're behind your close competitor, to catch them up. Whilst they're doing nothing, you can fill the void.
Yep.
If you are a market leader and you've just got a small advantage over your competitors, now is a great time to try to pull ahead. At the end of the day, we all want clear water between us and our competitors, because it allows you to sleep easy at night, knowing that they're not going to overtake you quickly. And as I said at the start, your audience is now at home. So it's a great time to put your brand, your logo, and your key message in front of them, because this is a great time for them to get it. Every day you can be on your social media channels, you can update your blogs, and you can improve your product pages. You can improve the way that your site converts visitors into customers by making your phone numbers clickable, your emails clickable, improving your forms, making sure that you send a follow-up email, all kinds of stuff. But now is a great time to do it, because you've got more time now than you've had, well, forever. At the end of the day, everybody gets bogged down. Now, when we're all busy, I know that clients' marketing can sometimes slip, because a lot of my time spent nowadays is liaising directly with the client contact and saying, hello, can we get this month's blogs prepared? I've created a calendar for you. Can we address them? Have you done your social media planning for this month, to make sure that they're constantly pressing their best-selling products and services?
How long does all of this take?
And it's a great question. This is a great question. Being very candid with you, I would have to say it all depends on the package that you choose to take. Right. Now, being a small business myself, when I was employed, I used to observe that some SEO packages were quite expensive, and some companies were being excluded from being able to take an SEO package because they simply couldn't afford the rate. So what I tried to do was build in a staging factor so that you can say, I can afford X amount of hours per month comfortably, and that doesn't trouble me, and we can do it. So they'll take a trial, which is 3 months. And after that trial, we come back and we look and say, this is the result. We've managed to fix all these errors. We've managed to improve your keyword visibility, and hopefully both your traffic and your sales or leads have increased. Now, that usually is enough to make the client feel happy enough to then switch onto our rolling package, where they pay monthly, and then they go forward to achieve the goals that they want to set. Now, if they haven't got a huge budget, they'll have a smaller amount of hours, which means the project will take longer. Okay? They always get reports which show how the progress is going, and what the issues are that we're facing, whether it be mobile speed issues, or whether it be access to files, or whether it's just that updates on the site create more errors than we can fix, create errors faster than we can fix them. Well, SEO is basically a service that you would buy and apply for the future of your website. It's almost like having an on-site mechanic, you know. I'm constantly there looking at your new content, making sure that it follows best practice and that it's as tuned up and optimal as it can be. I try to also position myself as like a critical friend for businesses. So I always encourage my clients to ring me or call me when they've got questions about how the site's going, or what they should do, how they should be improving it, you know, on a sort of more informal basis, like we're having this chat now. Because I think it's really important to have a good relationship with your clients, and for them to be frank and candid with me and tell me, you know, what they want to achieve, and then I can be frank and candid and say how realistic that is with the time scale and budget. You know, you've got to be upfront with people, but at the same time, do all you can to make things happen. Just give me a call, or if you prefer, you know, you can drop me the initial email if you prefer to make contact that way, and I will call you. My main target audience at the moment is people who sell online, e-commerce websites, but I also am happy to help any business who needs to improve during this difficult time. And, you know, I've got quite a few customers who are who rely on high volume leads. So if you're a chiropractor or a tree surgeon and you need that phone to ring and you don't know why it isn't, then it costs nothing to get in touch with me and just get a summary of where your website's at.
So during this outbreak, I believe you are offering free web audits. Is that correct?
We've all got enough on our plates without having to pay for something that you don't actually know what you're going to get. Right now, if your business is being affected by the coronavirus, then yes, get in contact, and I'm happy to do. You know, I spend quite a lot of time, at least a couple of hours, doing the initial audit before I reach back out to you. So I'll give that time freely to you if I can help you.
Great offer there. And obviously no obligation either if they decide not to take it any further.
That's absolutely right. There's no obligation at all. You know, the point of having an audit is to know where the land lies. I try and come across as myself, so you shall know that this is exactly as it is, and you should be able to see that from the audit and from the video combined. If the time isn't quite right for you to invest, then there's always an opportunity later, and hopefully, you know, you've appreciated the way I've put myself across to you.
Fantastic. Well, I think you've put yourself across extremely well, Phil. Thanks for your time today.
My pleasure, Mike, and you take care.
Cheers. Thank you. Bye-bye. So there you go, Phil Gregory from Peak District SEO. And if you want to take Phil up on his offer of a free audit for your website, his details were on screen during the interview, and they're also embedded into this social media post that you're watching. So tomorrow is Thursday, and we've had a lot of people asking us about their commercial business rent, and if we know anybody who can help and put you in the right direction in negotiating with your landlord. So tomorrow I am talking to Mark Renshaw from Renshaw Chartered Surveyors, and Mark will be providing you with some help and advice, and hopefully the help and advice that you need. So until tomorrow, all I've got to say to you is stay safe, stay in business, and if at all possible, please stay at home. I'm Mike Marshall from Eat, Sleep, Think, and you've been watching EST TV. Thank you.